Hi, welcome to Gene Rants. I'm Gene. A few vlogs ago, I did a vlog on the government shutdown, and I got a lot of comments on that, and I got more than the usual number of comments, more than the usual number of views. And by the way, I read the comments, and very interesting. It's good to hear from everybody, whatever side you're on, but it's of such interest that I thought I would talk some more about. Well, I'm going to show you three videos from regarding the government shutdown, the Schumer shutdown, or as I call it, the Schumer shakedown. It's the 38th day of this shutdown. As I'm recording this on Friday, you're seeing it on Monday. A lot of problems with air flights. 10% of flights have been canceled, and in I don't think all airports, but a lot of airports. Anyway, so I'm going to show you because there is interesting fact to throw in here is that there is an organization called the Media Research Center, and all they do is just log news broadcasts, what the stories are, and what's being covered, what's not being covered, and what's being covered, how much it's being covered, and if there's a political implication, which side is the coverage even-handed? So you'll be interested to know that the coverage has been 85 of the shutdown on the three networks. Hopefully CBS will change under Barry Weiss. It can't happen too soon because that is, as it is right now on the three networks, as far as I know. I could be wrong about CBS. Maybe it's already changed. But anyways, the coverage in mainstream media has been 85% in favor of the Democrats. Of all the statements of the people, representatives, whatever, people making statements about the government shutdown, there have been, as of the time of this poll, of this examination of the media, 83 statements in favor by Democrats, in favor of the Democrat position, which is saying that the Republicans are responsible for the shutdown, and only 12 that the Republicans are responsible. So you see, as the press secretary said, that the Caroline Leavitt said that this is what they're up against, just getting the news out. That's why we've been having these daily press conferences, though there wasn't one today, or I haven't seen one so far today, maybe because it's Friday, but setting the record straight and talking and giving the Republican side of the controversy, because it's not being covered, or very lightly covered compared to how the Democrats' position is being covered in the mainstream media. So what I'm going to show you today, because it is affecting the Democrats, and it's oh, by the way, let me just throw this in, because this is very interesting. If you're taking a plane, then you're having a problem with delayed flights or canceled flights. And if you are working for the government, you're having a problem with the, not getting paid. But for me, I can't speak for everybody. Tell me in the comments, but for me, day 38 of the shutdown, and it hasn't hurt me at all, So if it's got to go on, it's got to go on till till 5 Democrats vote, or 4 Democrats, as I've mentioned in the past, 4 Democrats and Rand Paul, the lone Republican who voted with the Democrats, vote to open the government. And again, I don't understand why the Democrats don't see that, why they don't just say, well, we'll supply, before you ask us for votes, get your one Republican, Rand Paul, to vote for it. Get him to vote, and then come see us. We're not the only ones shutting. The Republicans are as much responsible as we are, in the sense that you have one Republican who is voting with us to or voting against opening the government. Anyway, so there are going to be 3 videos today. First one is going to be setting because there was a lot of, as I said, blaming the Republicans for the shutdown. I got a lot of comments about that, and about, the controversy going back and forth, who's responsible for what, and what the circumstances and the facts are. So this first video will show, will set the record straight. The second one will be this. Oh, and the first one. So that's Ted Cruz in a colloquy with another Republican senator. It's a question and answer, but it's setting the record straight. And interesting, at this hearing, not one Democrat showed up. Okay, so that's how much they care about reopening the government. And that's number one. Second one is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, at the last press conference, which was Thursday, is explaining exactly the motive behind what the Democrats are doing, why they are doing it, and making sure it's nothing to do with health care. This idea of extending the COVID subsidies, that they don't expire until December 31st. There is plenty of time to debate that. What they want is, and actually there are some moderate Democrats who have been talking with some Republicans, about trying to make some kind of a deal, which in my view, the Republicans should not make any deal, just open the government, but about promising something that was going to happen anyway, which is to have a vote on the subsidies. And they were close to an agreement. And then I think it changed right after this election. That we just had the special elections, and the two Democrat governors were elected, and Democrat in New York. And never mind, I guess they're feeling their oats, even though these were all blue areas. All two states, Georgia and New Jersey, that voted for Kamala Harris, and New York City, that voted for Kamala Harris. But anyways, what happened was they changed their tune after. They said, well, we don't want a vote on extending the subsidies. We want a guaranteed outcome of that vote. In other words, if you guarantee that, if you agree to vote to extend the subs, to make them permanent, this was the Democrats' own idea, that they passed this legislation. Remember, this was when it was the Biden administration, Democrats in control, and these subsidies were supposed to, because of supposed COVID emergency, and they were supposed to expire December 31st. Now they want to make them permanent because Obamacare is failing. But that's not the real reason behind it. So we're going to have Mike Johnson explain it, put it in a nutshell, and then finally you're going to hear from a Democrat representative, House Representative Jared Golden, who has decided not to run because of what the Democrats are doing. He was the only Democrat. Put it this way: in the House. The House voted to for this clean continuing resolution. Doesn't have a single Republican priority or wish or policy preference in it. Totally clean continuing resolution. And he was the only Republican in the House to vote for that resolution. And now he's decided not to run for re-election, even though he could have won. He's been elected 6 times already. But he said basically that the government, the Democrats have gone so far to the left that it just created a toxic atmosphere he doesn't want to be part of anymore. He says, I can accomplish more in the private sector than I can in the House, because it's so dysfunctional. So there you go. And that's it. These 3 videos. So now that you have your preview of what's coming, the first one I promised was Ted Cruz explaining just the field of play right now for regarding the government shutdown.
If Senator Moreno would be open perhaps to a couple of questions, just to clarify the record, because we had a bit of Washington play acting just a moment ago. Senator Moreno, is it accurate that you and virtually every other Republican have voted 14 times to reopen the government?
We voted 14 times to end debate so that we could actually vote to open the government, yes.
And is it accurate that Senator Rosen and virtually every other Democrat has voted 14 times to keep the government closed?
Yes, her colleague from Nevada has bravely fought Chuck Schumer and has voted to open the government. So has John Fetterman and Angus King from Maine. So I applaud 3 Democrats for actually having the decency, the humanity to be able to pay government workers, pay our military, provide Head Start, provide SNAP benefits.
And is it accurate that Democrat Senator John Fetterman has repeatedly said this is a Democrat shutdown caused by Chuck Schumer and the Democrats?
Yeah, and I find it ironic that my Democrat colleagues will go to lobbyist dinners tonight, which they get fed steak, while people in their own constituents in their own states will not know where to get money to buy their groceries, or in the case of SNAP recipients, not be able to buy basic goods.
Is it also accurate that during the Biden presidency, 13 times Republicans worked with Democrats to pass a clean continuing resolution?
You would know better, Chairman, but I don't think there's ever been a time in U.S. history where a clean continuing resolution has been voted down by either party. And
is it accurate as well that CNN has fact-checked multiple Democrats who have insisted this is not a clean CR, and CNN, sometimes called the Clinton News Network, sometimes called the Communist News Network, has fact-checked the Democrats and said, no, this is in fact a clean CR that your party is voting against?
Yes, although I do wonder whether they've actually read the legislation, because that evidently is something that's optional. But I would assume if they have read it or took the time to read it, they'd realize it's their budget that they passed, and they're blocking this through a procedural technicality that prohibits us from actually taking a vote to reopen the government.
The record will reflect that every one of the questions we just engaged in is objectively true, and it says something that not a single Democrat is here to contest it, that their approach to this is instead to scream and yell while consistently voting to keep the government shut down and to deny pay to thousands of federal workers, including, within this committee's jurisdiction, some 50,000 TSA agents who are going to work right now. They missed their last paycheck. They're not being paid, including some 14,000 air traffic controllers who are going to work right now. They're not being paid. And the consequence, we are seeing delays at airports all across the country. We are seeing thousands of delays. We are seeing thousands of flight cancellations. We are seeing ground stops in major airports. And I would note one senior Democrat aide told Politico this shutdown will continue until planes start falling from the sky. For a committee with jurisdiction over aviation safety, that is a horrifying statement. And yet, for our Democrat colleagues, apparently they agree with those sentiments.
That's video number 1. Now we go to video number 2. This is Mike Johnson explaining exactly what is going on, what the Democrats are doing. As I say, I call it the madness to their method, reversal of, Hamlet, method in his madness. Here we have madness in their method. So here is Mike Johnson.
They left us with a 40-year high inflation, higher taxes and energy prices, and massive instability around the world. And what did they do in June of this year? This is the most recent history no one can forget. They voted against no tax on tips. They voted against no taxes on Social Security. They voted against a larger child tax credit. The Democrats in the House and Senate voted against lower energy prices, against more American manufacturing and jobs, and against lowering health care premiums by 12%. That provision, the cost sharing reduction provision, was in the House version of the Working Families Tax Cut, the big beautiful bill. We sent it over to the Senate, and they worked to strike it out of the bill. Ask the Senate Democrats about that. Right now, they've created another mess. They've created a mess for America with this pointless government shutdown. The Democrats will tell you that they're feeling emboldened. They're feeling emboldened because they had a few blue state election results. It does not change the fact that they have walked their party off a cliff with no parachute and no path forward. The reason we're stuck right now is because of one simple fact. If they vote to reopen the government, the Senate Democrats are afraid that the radicals in their party will say that they caved. They're afraid of the retribution that will come from that. But if they keep the government shut down, they know very well, as we all do, that millions of Americans will continue to suffer as essential services remain unfunded and paychecks to federal workers continue to stay stalled. So our question for Democrats this morning is this: which constituency matters more? The loud radicals in your party or the hardworking American people? I can tell you which side the Republicans are on. 15 times we voted for the hardworking American people. And 15 times so far, the Democrats in Congress have voted for the radicals in their party. It is unconscionable to us that they've allowed it to go on this long. And at some point, all you can do is pray that common sense prevails. And that's what I've been doing a lot of. We hope and pray that there are still Democrats out there. There's just a handful. We need 5 more votes. 5 centrist, common sense Democrats in the Senate to come to those senses and do the right thing. It's time for them to put their country first.
That was Mike Johnson, and now finally Jared Golden, the only Democrat in the House to have voted for the continuing resolution. Here is Jared Golden.
Golden is a Marine from Lewiston, a self-described independent Democrat who breaks from his party more than most. For instance, he voted for President Biden's agenda less than half the time, and he was the only House Democrat to vote to keep the federal government funded and open in September, though he did vote against President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill earlier this year. Golden prides himself on being one of the highest-ranked bipartisan House members, especially on military matters, and in the op-ed, Golden asserts if I were to continue with my campaign, I would prevail, adding in this quote, "I don't fear losing. What has become apparent to me is that I now dread the prospect of winning. Simply put, what I could accomplish in this increasingly unproductive Congress pales in comparison to what I could do in the time as a husband, father, and son." Golden says of his Democratic Party, "We're allowing the most extreme, pugilistic elements of our party to call the shots. Just look again at the shutdown. For as long as I can remember, we've opposed shutting down the government over policy disputes. We criticized Republicans for taking hostages this way. But this year, reeling from the losses of the last election, too many Democrats have given in to demands that we use the same no-holds-barred obstructionist tactics as the GOP."
And that's it for today. As always, your comments are welcome in the comments section below the video. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. Please subscribe. I could always use more. Please, please, please subscribe. No, I don't want to beg, but I would be put it this way, I would be so honored if you would subscribe. And other than that, most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.